There, it's about 2 in the morning, and I've just woken up with my crippling insomnia, like I've had for about the last 7 months since I've been on paliperidone, which is medicine. But I just got these notifications. Somebody, I put a post on the internet that asked if cannibalism was prescribed in hospitals, would it cure omnivorism? And Ascendria commented on threads, where are we getting the human meat? If not sure if cannibalism would fix much outside of a political statement. And it was liked by Tigrim. And I spent a bit of money at unfpa.org. And yeah, you don't need to send the other shit. I've met a guy I saw a guy with like a Cannibal Corpse t-shirt on. Didn't realise it was a band. I just thought, like, that's just a really dark t-shirt. What a fucking weird guy. And I met another guy, and his dad was in like the Fine Young Cannibals or something. And yeah, like, it kind of befuddled me. I didn't really know if there was like cannibalism going on that somebody was trying to cover up or something. But I don't think anybody would really do that. I don't know, so I thought I'd ask Gemini. In the field of criminology and in British legal history, has there been instances where cannibalism has been used as a type of dehumanising and sickeningly depraved torture, where victims are force-fed to bereaved family members by embittered monstrosities, drunk on power and consumed by revenge, or is it mostly an occult fetishism that typically ring-fenced from the cosplay between murderers and their bereaved victims? So Gemini said, in the field of criminology, the British legal history, the scenarios you describe, cannibalism as a form of dehumanising torture where victims are force-fed to bereaved family members by perpetrators are extremely rare and non-existent as documented established practices in legal cases in the UK. While cannibalism has occurred in human history in the UK, for example, survival cannibalism, as in the famous R versus Dudley and Stevens case of 1884, or evidence of prehistoric ritualistic cannibalism, the specific, highly orchestrated and psychologically depraved scenario you outlined is not a recognised pattern in British legal history or criminology study in the UK. That's a relief. It would be terrible if that sort of thing went on. Even if the Wi-Fi went off when I started making the recording. I still got 4G, so we'll just crack on. Here's a breakdown of why this distinction is important. Historical context of cannibalism in Britain. Prehistoric and ancient archaeological evidence suggests that ritualistic cannibalism in the Stone Age Britain, e.g. Goth's Cave. Survival cannibalism and colonial discourse. Survival cannibalism is a case, again, legal case law, dealt with individuals resorting to cannibalism out of extreme necessity at sea. This was condemned by law, establishing that the necessity is not necessarily a defence for murder. And in the colonial discourse in the early modern England, cannibalism was often used in political and social discourse to describe extreme savagery, particularly in relation to non-European peoples, or to condemn perceived disobedient Englishmen. This was more about metaphor and justification for control than documented instances of the acts of themselves within the UK. Famine. Historically, instances of cannibalism have been reported during severe famines, during sieges or widespread scarcity, but these are acts of desperation, not typically systematic torture by perpetrators against specific victims' families. Criminological perspectives on cannibalism. Generally not UK specific unless noted. Pathological and individual cases. When modern criminal cases involve cannibalism, they're almost universally associated with severe psychopathology, serial killers, e.g. Jeffrey Dahmer, though not in the UK, or extreme sexual sadism. In these cases, the consumption of human flesh is often driven by a desire for ultimate control, possession, or a manifestation of extreme fantasy. Don't know who Jeffrey Dahmer is, actually, showing my ignorance there. Ritualistic and the occult. While some criminal acts may involve ritualistic elements, including sometimes mutilation, and some occult practices are associated with dark themes, the direct scenario of force-feeding human remains to bereaved family members by perpetrators as a form of humiliation or torture, not commonly recognised or documented feature of occult crime or fetishism in the UK or internationally. Occult fetishism in this context often refers to a perpetrator's personal psychological gratification, not necessarily a public act of humiliation against victims' families. Dehumanisation. Cannibalism is inherently dehumanising for the victims, reducing them to a mere sustenance or an object or consumption. However, the specific method of humiliation you describe, force feeding to family, is what distinguishes it, and this highly specific form of torture is not documented as a historical or criminological pattern in the UK. Conclusion: while the act of cannibalism is undeniably sickening and dehumanising, and individual murderers may exhibit monstrous depravity, the highly specific scenario of perpetrators force-feeding human remains to bereaved family members as a form of revenge or humiliation is not documented or established pattern in British legal history or criminology. Modern instances of criminal cannibalism are extremely rare and typically fall under the category of severe pathological or sexually sadistic acts by individuals. So if they are sexually sadistic and have a severe pathology, then it could be rare that might happen. So driven by their own warped fantasies rather than systemic acts of torture against families as part of a revenge scheme. The concept of occult fetishism in relation to cannibalism is more likely to refer to a perpetrator's personal, often secret and deeply disturbing gratification rather than a public theatrical display of torture involving family members. Let's see if I can ask a question using 4G. Sorry, this is the boring bit where I have to type because I don't reckon it will listen to me if I do an audio request. Sorry, I just had to pause it. I heard somebody coming to my door then. Let's see if it will find this on 4G. So I asked, could the track Only Human by Rag and Bone Man be not very secretly about cannibalism? But apparently it's highly, highly unlikely that Rag and Bone Man's Human is secretly about cannibalism. The overwhelming consensus from interviews with Rag and Bone Man, Rory Graham, official analysis and common interpretations of the lyrics point to a very different and widely understood message. The core theme is about human imperfection and empathy. Songs are a plea for understanding, acknowledging that everyone makes mistakes and struggles. It's not about putting unrealistic expectations on others or on oneself, recognising that we are only human after all. Not like you've got some human leftovers. In response to criticism and pressure, Rag and Bone Man himself stated that the song was partly inspired by his frustration with people complaining about trivial matters and expecting perfection from others, including him. He's saying, don't put your blame on me, I'm just a man. Not that somebody's being fitted up for mince that's been swapped out for human flesh. Relatability. The song's massive success comes from its universal message about vulnerability, flaws, and the shared human condition. People resonate with the idea that it's okay not to be perfect and that everyone faces challenges. There's absolutely no lyrical or thematic evidence within the song, nor any statements from the artist that would suggest a hidden meaning related to cannibalism. The lyrics are quite direct in their exploration of human fallibility. I'm only human after all, don't put your blame on me, don't ask my opinion, don't ask me to lie, I'm no prophet or messiah, you should go looking somewhere higher, I'm just a man, I do what I can. These lines clearly articulate a theme of acknowledging limitations and seeking understanding, not a dark, hidden message about consuming human flesh. The imagery and metaphors used are firmly within the realm of personal struggle, societal judgment and individual responsibility. So whilst it's interesting to consider alternative interpretations in this case, the generally accepted meaning of human is quite clear, well supported, and it's definitely not about cannibalism. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to upload this now because the Wi-Fi's gone. You don't know if you can see that on your screen. Yeah, there's no Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi's just completely dipped out. Let's have a look. Turn it back on. That's what I need to do. Come on, CHC guest. There we go. Right, I'll upload this video. If anyone's got any comments or ideas about any of the themes that I've raised, or whether people use cannibalism as a way of disposing bodies or humiliating people, let me know, because I've been having some pretty fucked up dreams recently, and yeah, like I keep on seeing this kind of like talisman of camouflaged cannibalism around the place, and it's concerning me quite a lot. So if anyone's got anything to add to that, then by all means leave a comment, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you're so that way inclined. Thanks very much.